Have you ever noticed how some people look ordinary on paper, yet their life keeps opening up, as if the road in front of them keeps widening by itself? Have you ever wondered why you try so hard to live well, yet you keep feeling stuck in the same tight circle, even when you do everything you think you are supposed to do? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you in a way that feels like real life, not like a motivational speech, because this topic hits a nerve. It makes us secretly ask a painful question. Is life unfair? Or am I missing something invisible that changes everything? Here is what I want you to hold gently as we walk through this story. Some people do not live smoothly because they have better luck. They live smoothly because they have trained a different inner posture. They see farther than the moment. They hold a wider view than their own ego. And they have learned to let go of what most people cling to. And that changes everything. Not by magic, by cause and effect, by karma, in the simplest sense. What you repeatedly water in the mind becomes the shape of your life. When a person can see far, they do not sacrifice their future for a short pleasure. They do not burn bridges for temporary pride. They do not ruin their health for a quick win. They are willing to endure small discomfort now, so they do not create big suffering later. When a person can see wide, they do not get trapped in narrow resentment. They do not obsess about being right. They can understand other people, which means they can cooperate, build trust, and move through conflict without destroying relationships. They carry a bigger heart, and the world responds to that heart. When a person can see lightly, they do not cling to every outcome. They do not panic when life changes. They do not collapse when the plan breaks. They move with impermanence instead of fighting it. They suffer less unnecessary suffering. They have more space. And in that space, wisdom appears. Seeing far, seeing wide, and seeing lightly sound like simple words, but they describe the difference between a life that feels constantly blocked and a life that keeps finding openings. Let me tell you a story, and I want you to listen like you are listening to someone you know, because you might recognize yourself in parts of this. There is a man named Ethan. Ethan is not rich. He is not famous. He does not have special connections. He is not even unusually charismatic. He is the kind of person you might pass on the street without thinking twice. But if you look at his life from the outside, you notice something strange. He keeps landing on his feet. When a job ends, another door opens. When a project fails, he learns and grows. Then something better appears later. When relationships get tense, he somehow diffuses the fire instead of throwing gasoline on it. Even when he faces hardship, he does not get swallowed by bitterness. He moves forward, step by step, and the road seems to meet him halfway. People around Ethan say he is lucky, but one person in particular cannot stop thinking about it. A woman named Claire. Claire works hard. She is conscientious. She is responsible. She is the person who tries. And yet she feels like her life is always pushing against her. She feels like she is swimming upstream while others float downstream. Claire notices that she often feels rushed, even when nothing is urgent. She worries even when things are going well. She takes criticism like an identity verdict. She holds grudges like they are evidence in a trial. And she clings to plans so tightly that when the plan changes, she feels personally attacked by reality. Claire is not weak. She is conditioned. She is reacting from habits. And habits are powerful. One day Claire and Ethan sit together after work. Claire finally asks him the question that has been building inside her for months. She says, "How do you do it? Why does your life feel smoother? Why do you always look steady?" Ethan laughs softly, not in a proud way, more like someone who knows he is not special. He says, "I do not always feel steady. I just train myself to stop making everything heavier than it needs to be." Claire rolls her eyes. She says, "That is not an answer." Ethan pauses. He looks at her with a quiet kindness and says, "Do you want the real answer? It is not glamorous. It is not quick. It is 3 things I try to remember." He says, "I try to see far. See wide and see lightly. Claire stares at him. She says, "That sounds like something from a fortune cookie." Ethan smiles. He says, "I know, but if you actually live it, it changes your life." Claire asks him to explain, and what Ethan shares becomes a turning point for her. He starts with seeing far. Ethan says, "When I was younger, I thought life was about getting what I wanted right now. If someone offended me, I wanted to win right now. If I felt uncomfortable, I wanted relief right now. If I wanted something, I wanted it now." Then he says, "I started noticing cause and effect. Every time I chased quick relief, I paid a price later. Every time I tried to win in the moment, I created enemies for the future. Every time I avoided discomfort, I became weaker." Claire listened because she knows this pain. She has chased quick relief too. She has said things in anger and regretted them later. She has made decisions from panic and then lived with the consequences for years. Ethan continues. He says, "Seeing far means you stop living only for the short-term version of you. You start living for the long-term version of you. And you care about that person." Claire asks him what that looks like. Ethan says, "It looks like not lying to make life easier today, because you know lies create fear tomorrow. It looks like not spending money. You do not have to impress people you do not trust, because you know debt creates anxiety later. It looks like not burning your health for a promotion, because you know your body collects every unpaid bill. It looks like not destroying relationships for a moment of pride, because you know isolation is expensive." Claire nods, but she still feels resistance, because she thinks, "I know these things, but I still do the opposite sometimes." Ethan seems to read her mind. He says, "Knowing is not enough. You have to feel the chain of cause and effect in your bone. And this is where karma becomes real." Karma is not just a mystical word. It is the way your choices shape your next choices. It is the way your habits become your identity. It is the way your identity becomes your destiny. If you repeatedly choose the easy impulse, you train your mind to be ruled by impulses. Then life becomes unstable. If you repeatedly choose the wise path, even when it is slightly uncomfortable, you train your mind to be guided by wisdom. Then life becomes steadier. Ethan says, "I am not perfect. I still make mistakes. But I try to remember that every moment is a vote for the kind of person I will be next year." That line lands in Claire like a bell. Every moment is a vote. Ethan then tells her a story from his own life. He says there was a time when he was angry at a friend. The friend embarrassed him publicly. Ethan wanted to strike back. He wanted revenge. He wanted to win that day. But then he says, "I asked myself, if I win this moment, what do I lose? I might lose a friendship. I might lose peace. I might lose my own dignity. I might spend months replaying the fight in my head." So he waited. He cooled down. He talked privately. He set a boundary without attacking. And later the friend apologized sincerely. Ethan says, "If I had chosen the short win, I would have created a long cost. Seeing far saved me." Claire thinks about her own life. She thinks about the time she chose the short win and paid the long cost. She starts to see that her suffering is not random. It is often the echo of her own reactivity. But she is not ready to admit that fully yet. Not because she is stubborn, but because the ego protects itself. The ego hates the idea that you created your own suffering, because that idea can feel like blame. So Ethan adds something important. He says, "This is not about blaming yourself. This is about taking your power back. If cause and effect is real, then you can change the causes." Now Ethan moves to the second level, seeing wide. Claire thinks seeing far makes sense, but seeing wide sounds vague. Ethan says, "Seeing wide means you stop living inside a narrow tunnel where everything is about you and your feelings and your story. It means you widen the lens." He says, "Most conflict happens because people see narrow. They see only their own pain. They do not see the other person's fear. They do not see the other person's conditioning. They do not see the bigger context. They do not see the long history. They do not see that everyone is trying to protect something. Claire hears this and feels a defensive spark. She says, "Some people are just wrong. Some people are just selfish. Some people deserve to be judged." Ethan does not argue. He simply says, "Maybe. But ask yourself this. When you judge, does your life get better?" Claire falls quiet because she knows the truth. Judgment gives a short feeling of power, but it leaves a long bitterness. It keeps the heart tight. It keeps the mind busy. It steals energy that could be used for growth. Ethan continues. He says, "Seeing wide does not mean you accept abuse. It does not mean you become naive. It means you understand the whole situation before you act. You do not act from a small emotional explosion. You act from a larger view." Then he says, "Seeing wide is the soil of compassion. And compassion is not just a moral thing. Compassion is a practical advantage." Claire raises her eyebrows. She says, "Compassion is an advantage." Ethan says, "Yes. When you understand people, you can work with them. When you can work with people, you build trust. When you build trust, opportunities appear. When you build trust, your life becomes smoother." Claire wants to disagree, but she cannot. She has seen it. She has seen how some people create enemies everywhere because they cannot understand anyone. She has seen how others create allies because they know how to listen. Ethan says, "Seeing wide also means you stop making everything personal." This is a huge one, because when you make everything personal, every small event becomes an attack on your identity. Someone forgets to respond, and you think you are rejected. Someone looks tired, and you think they hate you. Someone criticizes your work, and you think you are worthless. That narrow view creates constant suffering. Seeing wide means you remember that people have their own storms. They have their own wound. Their behavior is often about their own mind, not about your worth. Claire feels a lump in her throat because she recognizes herself. She has been living inside a story where everything is about her flaws. Ethan tells her a simple practice. He says, "When someone does something that triggers you, ask yourself 3 questions. What might they be dealing with? What part of me is being touched? What response reduces suffering?" Claire is surprised. She says, "That sounds like therapy." Ethan smiles. He says, "It is also wisdom." Then he tells her another story. He says there was a time when his manager was harsh. The manager criticized him in front of others. Ethan felt humiliated. His mind wanted to quit. His mind wanted to fight. His mind wanted to prove the manager wrong. But he paused and looked wider. He noticed the manager was under pressure. He noticed the manager was scared of failure. He noticed the manager lacked emotional skill. Ethan did not excuse the behavior. He did not become a doormat, but he responded from a wider view. He did his work well. He documented calmly. He asked for a private conversation. He set a boundary respectfully. Over time, the manager softened. And even if the manager had not softened, Ethan would have protected his dignity without burning bridges. Claire realizes something. Seeing wide is a kind of strength. It protects you from being thrown around by other people's moods. In Buddhist practice, this is closely connected to right view. The ability to see things as they are, not as your emotions claim they are. Right view includes the understanding of impermanence. People's moods change. Situations change. Life shifts. So why cling to a single moment as if it is the whole truth? Right view includes the understanding of interdependence. Nothing happens in isolation. Behavior arises from condition. Your reaction becomes one of the conditions shaping what happens next. This is where compassion and karma meet. When you respond wisely, you change the chain. Claire asks Ethan, "So, seeing far is about time, and seeing wide is about perspective. What is seeing lightly?" Ethan takes a deep breath. He says, seeing lightly is the hardest, and it is what makes the other too stable. He says, most people suffer because they cling. They cling to outcome. They cling to identity. They cling to control. They cling to being right. They cling to being liked. They cling to their plan. Then life changes, as life always does, and they panic. They feel betrayed by reality. Ethan says, seeing lightly means you live with an open hand. Claire does not like this. She says, if I live with an open hand, I will lose everything. People will take advantage. Life will become unstable. Ethan nods. He says, that is the fear talking. Seeing lightly does not mean you have no boundaries. It means you do not build your entire sense of self on things that are impermanent. This is where Buddhist wisdom is so direct. Everything is impermanent. Bodies change. Jobs change. Relationships change. Reputation changes. Money changes. Even your opinions change. So if you cling to impermanent things as if they must stay, you will suffer. Seeing lightly means you stop demanding that life stay the way you want. You stop demanding that people stay the way you imagine. You stop demanding that you stay young, unhurt, perfect, admired. You accept reality. And because you accept it, you can move with it. That makes life feel smoother. Claire is quiet. She realizes she has been fighting impermanence. She has been fighting change. She has been trying to control everything, and that is exhausting. Ethan says, when you see lightly, you lose less energy to resistance. You still feel pain, but you create less extra suffering. You stop firing the second arrow. Claire asks, what is the second arrow? Ethan says, the first arrow is the pain of life. The second arrow is the story you add. The story that says this should not happen. The story that says I cannot handle it. The story that says I am doomed. When you see lightly, you still get hit by the first arrow sometimes, but you do not keep shooting yourself with the second. This is the secret of people who seem lucky. They still face hardship. They just waste less life fighting what is already here. Claire wants to believe him, but she is also scared, because if she lets go, she worries she will become passive. She worries she will stop achieving. She worries she will become careless. Ethan laughs. He says, letting go is not giving up. Letting go is letting reality breathe. He says, when you hold the steering wheel too tightly, your arms get tired and your driving gets worse. When you loosen just enough, you can actually steer better. That metaphor finally lands for Claire. Now I want to step in here and speak directly to you. Because maybe you are Claire. You are trying hard. You are doing your best. You are carrying pressure. You are clinging because you think clinging equals responsibility. But responsibility can be wise. Wise responsibility includes letting go of what you cannot control and focusing energy on what you can. That is seeing lightly. Now the story deepens because Claire decides to test these 3 levels in her own life. She does not announce it. She does not post about it. She simply decides to experiment. The first test comes sooner than she expects. Eye conflict erupts in her family. Something old surfaces. Old misunderstandings. Old accusation. Old emotional patterns. Claire feels her chest tighten. Her mind starts preparing for battle. In the past, she would react quickly. She would defend herself. She would try to win. She would say things that feel good in the moment, but leave scars later. This time she tries to see far. She asks herself, if I win this argument, what happens next week? Next year? If I lose my temper, what karma am I planting? What kind of person will I become if I keep doing this? That question slows her down. Then she tries to see wide. She looks at her family member and asks inside, what pain are they carrying? What are they afraid of? What are they protecting? She notices something. The other person is not attacking her because Claire is bad. The other person is attacking because they feel powerless. They feel unseen. They feel old grief. This does not excuse the harsh words. but it helps Claire not take it as an identity verdict. Then she tries to see lightly. She reminds herself, I do not need to control this person's emotions. I do not need to fix everything today. I do not need to be seen as perfect. I can speak calmly and then let go. Claire takes a breath. She responds more softly than usual. She sets a boundary without attacking. She says what is true without cruelty. The conflict does not disappear instantly. Real life is not a movie, but something changes. The heat lowers. The spiral slows. Later, Claire is shocked. She feels tired but not poisoned. She did not carry the conversation for hours in her head. She did not replay revenge scenes. She did not drown in shame. She realizes she created less karma of suffering. This is how life becomes smoother. Not by controlling reality, but by changing your inner response. The next test happens at work. Claire makes a mistake. Not a big scandal, but enough to feel embarrassed. Her manager points it out. Claire feels the old wave. The old voice says, you are incompetent. You are behind. You always fail. This is where many people suffer. Not because of the mistake, but because of the identity story. Claire remembers seeing far. A mistake is a moment, not a destiny. If she learns, her future improves. If she collapses in shame, her future suffers. She remembers seeing wide. Everyone makes mistakes. The manager is not a god. The manager is a person with their own pressures. A correction is not an execution. She remembers seeing lightly. She can admit the mistake without turning it into self-hatred. She can apologize and adjust. Then let go. She does exactly that. And something subtle happens. The manager trusts her more, not less, because she is honest and steady. Claire begins to understand why some people rise. They do not rise because they never fail. They rise because they fail without collapsing, learn without ego drama, and keep moving. This is spiritual practice in ordinary clothes. Now I want to go deeper into each level, because when you truly understand them, you can apply them in every part of life. Seeing far is the wisdom of time. It is the ability to trade a small comfort for a larger freedom. Most people trade the other way. They trade long-term freedom for short-term relief. They scroll instead of sleeping. They eat to numb instead of feeling. They gossip to feel powerful instead of building skill. They spend to feel worthy instead of building stability. They explode to feel in control instead of building trust. These choices are understandable. The mind wants relief, but the relief is expensive. Seeing far is when you begin to ask different questions. Not what feels good now, but what reduces suffering later. Not what gets me approval now, but what builds dignity later. Not what helps me win now, but what helps me live peacefully later. Seeing far is also deeply connected to the idea of integrity. When you live with integrity, your mind becomes calmer. When you lie, even small lies, a part of the mind stays on guard. It has to maintain the story. It has to protect the image. That creates background anxiety. When you live truthfully, the mind relaxes. That relaxation is worth more than many pleasures. Seeing far also includes patience. People who see far are willing to go slow at the beginning so they can go far later. They are willing to learn a skill properly rather than chase shortcuts. They are willing to repair relationships rather than collect enemies. They are willing to practice discipline quietly rather than burn out dramatically. In Buddhist terms, this is the fruit of right effort. Right effort is not harshness. Right effort is wise energy. It is energy guided by understanding. Now seeing wide is the wisdom of space. It is the ability to hold more than one truth. Many people live in a narrow view. In that view, there is only me and what I want. Only my story. Only my pain. Only my opinion. A narrow view creates conflict because it cannot include others. A narrow view creates loneliness because it cannot connect. A narrow view creates resentment because it cannot understand. Seeing wide is when you begin to include more. You include the fact that other people have wounds. You include the fact that everyone is conditioned. You include the fact that behavior arises from fear and craving. You include the fact that you do not know the whole story. This does not make you passive. It makes you wise. Seeing wide also makes you less reactive because you stop taking everything as a personal attack. You see the weather in other people's minds. In Buddhist practice, this is also connected to compassion. Compassion is not soft weakness. Compassion is clarity with warmth. It is the ability to see suffering without hatred. When you see wide, you are more able to forgive, not because harm is okay, but because you refuse to carry poison in your heart. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. Forgiveness does not mean you trust someone who is unsafe. Forgiveness means you release your obsession with revenge. You release the mental replay. You free your own mind. That is seeing wide. Now seeing lightly is the wisdom of letting go. It is the ability to hold life without gripping it. This is the deepest, because the root of suffering is often clinging. Clinging to pleasure, clinging to identity, clinging to control. When you cling, the mind tightens. When the mind tightens, you suffer. Seeing lightly is when you remember that everything changes, and you stop demanding permanent safety from a world that is impermanent by nature. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you care without possession. You love people without trying to own them. You work hard without tying your worth to outcomes. You plan wisely without panicking when plans change. You practice without demanding a perfect mind. This is equanimity. Not coldness, but balance. Equanimity is one of the most powerful qualities a human can develop, because it allows you to face life with a steady heart. And a steady heart sees opportunities that a panicked heart cannot see. Now let us bring this back to the question that started the whole thing. Why do some people seem to live smoother? Because they have less internal friction. When you fight reality, every day feels heavy. When you cooperate with reality, the same day feels workable. When you cling, you create fear. When you let go, you create space. When you see narrow, you create enemies. When you see wide, you create allies. When you see short, you trade your future for your mood. When you see far, you build a future you can live inside. This is not luck. This is training. Now, Claire continues her experiment and discovers something surprising. As she trains these 3 levels, her external life does begin to change. People trust her more because she is less reactive. She gets more opportunities because she is easier to work with. She feels more energy because she wastes less energy on mental battles. Her relationships improve because she listens more and defends less. She makes better decisions because she can see beyond the craving of the moment. This is how inner practice becomes outer destiny. But I want to be honest about something. The path does not remove all difficulty. Claire still faces loss. She still faces stress. She still faces days where the mind is messy. The difference is that she stops adding so much extra suffering. She stops turning every problem into a full identity crisis. She stops turning every change into a catastrophe. This is the hidden secret of peace. Peace is not the absence of storms. Peace is the ability to be steady inside storms. Now let me add another story, because sometimes one story is not enough. There is a man named Victor who also seems lucky. Victor runs a small business. He is not a genius, but his business grows steadily. People like working with him. Customers return. When problems arise, he handles them calmly. A younger employee once asked Victor how he stays so composed. Victor said something simple. Most people want to win the moment. I want to win the year. That is seeing far. Victor said something else. Most people want to be right. I want to be effective. That is seeing wide. Victor then added, most people want to control everything. I want to control my response. That is seeing lightly. Victor did not use spiritual words, but he was practicing. And this is important for you to hear. Wisdom is not owned by any religion, but Buddhism offers a very clear language for it. Impermanence, karma, non-attachment, right view, right effort. These are not abstract ideas. They are descriptions of how reality works. Now, let me speak to the part of you that might feel discouraged. You might be thinking, I hear this, but I am not like that. I get triggered. I cling. I panic. I see narrow. I see short. I get lost. If that is you, welcome. You are human. The path is not about becoming perfect overnight. The path is about noticing the pattern and returning again and again. Every time you pause before reacting, you train seeing wide. Every time you choose long-term integrity over short-term relief, you train seeing far. Every time you let go of an outcome you cannot control, you train seeing lightly. Small moments build a life. And this is the part that people forget. Destiny is not only big events. Destiny is the direction created by thousands of small choices. If you choose anger again and again, you build a destiny of conflict. If you choose patience again and again, you build a destiny of stability. If you choose honesty again and again, you build a destiny of trust. If you choose generosity again and again, you build a destiny of connection. This is karma, not as superstition, but as lived cause and effect. Now I want to share a reflection that often changes how people relate to luck. Many people think luck is random. Sometimes it is, but what people call luck is often the result of invisible preparation. A calm mind looks like luck because it sees opportunities. A kind heart looks like luck because it attracts help. A disciplined life looks like luck because it avoids disasters. A light grip looks like luck because it adapts to change. When you see far, wide, and lightly, you create the conditions where good things can happen more easily. Now, let us talk about the deepest layer of seeing lightly, because this is where suffering truly dissolves. Seeing lightly is not just letting go of plans. It is letting go of the idea that you must be someone. Most suffering comes from identity clinging. I must be respected. I must be admired. I must be successful. I must be seen as good. I must not look foolish. These demands create constant tension. When you see lightly, you still act with excellence. But you do not build your whole self-worth on the outcome. You work, but you are not owned by work. You love, but you do not possess. You try, but you do not collapse if you fail. This is freedom. And freedom is what people sense when they call someone lucky. They sense the person is not trapped. Now I want to move into the closing reflection in a way that feels personal. Because the best teachings are the ones you can feel in your own life. I have seen people who spent years fighting reality. They fought change, fought aging, fought criticism, fought uncertainty. They tried to control everything. They were always tired. They were always tense. They were always behind, even when they were doing well. Their life looked fine, but their inner world was a battlefield. I have also seen people who faced serious hardship yet stayed steady. They were not numb. They cried. They felt pain. But they did not poison themselves with endless resentment. They did not cling to the past. They did not demand the world be different before they could breathe. They accepted impermanence and focused on what they could do now. Their life was not easy, but it was not trapped. The difference was not luck. The difference was inner training. And if you are listening right now, you can begin that training today. Not with huge pressure, with one small shift. The next time you feel triggered, pause and ask, can I see wider? The next time you want quick relief, pause and ask, can I see farther? The next time you feel desperate to control, pause and ask, can I hold this more lightly? That is practice. Now I want to invite you to share your story. Where do you feel most stuck? Is it because you see too short and sacrifice the future? Is it because you see too narrow and get trapped in ego battles? Is it because you cling too tightly and fight impermanence? Tell me in the comments what you are facing and which level you want to train first. And if you have seen someone in your life who seems to live smoothly, what qualities do they carry? What do they do differently? If you want to support the channel, subscribe, like, and leave a comment so more people can find these long-form talks. And if you want to go deeper and help us keep creating content like this, consider becoming a member. Your support helps us build a community focused on wisdom, compassion, cause and effect, and real practice in everyday life. Until next time, remember this: life will keep changing. That is not a problem. That is reality. When you learn to see far, see wide, and see lightly, you stop fighting the river and you start flowing with it. And that is when people will look at your life and call it luck, even though you will know the truth. It was training. It was wisdom. It was compassion. It was the quiet work of awakening.
There comes a time when you realize you want something that belongs just to you. Something that brings comfort and keeps you connected to your inner world. Wall-crafted bracelet does exactly that. Quietly, softly, and consistently. If you felt drawn to any bracelet in this video, you'll find the purchase link in the video description, and many more auctions in the channel's storefront. Because sometimes the smallest item can bring the biggest sense of peace.